Welcome back to Road to Wire. In this one, we're going to be answering some of the most popular FPL questions ahead of Game Week 5. So let's get straight into it. Okay, the first question is keep or sell Ollie Watkins. Now, we've been here before. We were here last week with this question, and we're here again. Aston Villa have been useless, like really, really bad. It's not even like they've looked good and they've been creating chances and they're just missing these chances. They haven't created much at all. They've looked really, really bad. It's not even like they've had some bad fixtures either. The fixtures have been pretty good. I mean, the last three, Brentford away. Brentford after Game Week 1 looked like a terrible, terrible team. They don't look that much better now, if I'm honest. And they couldn't score against Brentford. Everton, again, last season Everton were quite a good defence. But this season we've not really seen that. They've had good enough fixtures to perform well. And they haven't. What we did see, though, in the EFL Cup was a Harvey Elliott start. We saw Sancho play. And I think that at the weekend, we probably will see both of those guys start. And I think that will make a bit of a difference. Watkins and Rodgers haven't looked on it at all, to be honest. But I think if we get Harvey Elliott in there, if we get Sancho in there, I do think it will look a bit better. Or not only that, but I will always be in the camp of fixtures create form. Now, yes, as I just mentioned, they've had good fixtures and it hasn't created any form, admittedly. But these fixtures, I just don't think you can sell a player before such good fixtures. And these fixtures are Sunderland away this week, Fulham at home, Burnley at home. Now, none of these three defences have actually looked particularly bad. The Burnley defence, for example, looked pretty good against Liverpool at the weekend. The Sunderland defence, again, looked pretty good, although the Palace attack isn't exactly firing on all cylinders at the moment. And the Fulham defence, again, kept a clean sheet. It was against Leeds, but still, they are three defences who haven't looked that bad recently. I just think that Aston Villa won't continue to not score. They haven't scored in 4 league games now, which is quite incredible. But that won't continue. Ollie Watkins isn't a bad striker. Their front four isn't bad. They will create chances, they will score, and I think these fixtures will be the catalyst for that. So I'm saying you should keep Ollie Watkins. Okay, the second question we are looking at is should you be buying Semenyo? And the general or short answer is, of course, yes. He is absolutely fantastic. He's everything we thought he was from last season. Last season, he took a ridiculous amount of shots. Now, he's kind of only got one shot in that he just kicks the ball as hard as he can with his laces at the goal. More often than not, that will work though. So that's not necessarily a bad thing. He doesn't have much finesse in his shooting, but listen, if it goes in the goal, I don't really care. So the general short answer is yes. However, it's a little bit more complex than that just because not everybody has kind of enough free transfers to just grab Semenyo for someone. Some people might not be able to sell him one of their midfielders right now. So I don't think you necessarily need to go out and rush to buy Semenyo for this week. It's against Newcastle. The Newcastle defences look pretty good, but they are playing in the Champions League midweek. So we could see a bit more of a tired Newcastle team. However, like I say, I just don't think that the fixture is incredible. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm sure Semenyo will have a great game. He could potentially get a goal contribution, of course, but I just don't think this is a week where you absolutely have to get him in. If you can, then do. If not, then I think Game Week 6, where it's Leeds away, is definitely a good entry point. So, yeah, the answer to buy Semenyo is yes, but you don't necessarily need to rip up your team to get him in this week. Okay, the third question we're looking at is should you wildcard this week? Now, a lot of people are considering using the wildcard chip this week, especially if you've had a bad start to this season. Like I've had a bad start, so I completely get where you're coming from. And an early wildcard can set you up really nicely. So I don't mind wildcarding around this time. I don't think you need to save it, for example. As long as you save one chip, either the wildcard or the free hit, I don't think you want to be using both of them right now. If you use the wildcard now, then save the free hit chip until a little bit later in the first half of the season. However, I don't think that this is a good week to use your wildcard. Now, the main reasoning for that is the fixtures for a lot of the teams that you're going to want to target on wildcard. So, as an example, Arsenal and Man City, from game week 6 onwards, they've got wonderful fixtures. So on your wildcard, you are going to want to fill up on Arsenal and Man City players. However, in game week 5, they play each other. So it's a bad fixture for both teams. Meaning that you're going to wildcard, fill up on... you're going to have 2 or 3 from each team, Man City and Arsenal. And they play against each other, like I say. So I don't think you need to wildcard these guys into an immediate bad fixture. I think if you've got loads of injuries in your team and you literally can't field an 11, then fine, just wildcard, because a bad fixture for these guys is better than no fixture for your injured players. But I do think that if you can wait till game week 6, I think game week 6 is a much better week to wildcard, because even someone like Cole Palmer, for example, he's playing against Manchester United this week, which, don't get me wrong, isn't a bad fixture because Man United are bad, but there's better fixtures. And from game week 6, Chelsea also have slightly better fixtures than they do than a Man United game, for example. So, yeah, I think that if you can muddle through game week 5 and use it in game week 6, I much prefer that to using it this week. Okay, and the last question we're going to look at in this video is keep or sell Salah. Now, we know Salah has been pretty bad so far this season. Now, FPL points wise, he's been okay, I guess, because he's got an assist, he's scored 2 penalties, but actual open play kind of chances and numbers, he's been awful. So, in the last 3 weeks, he's had 2 shots. One of those was the penalty. So, outside of the penalty, he's had 1 shot in 3 games. He's had 1 shot on target, which was the penalty. A non-penalty XG, for example, of 0.05. It's been bad. Like, the numbers have been awful. He looks pretty uninvolved in most of the attacks for Liverpool. He looks pretty wide. That being said, the fixture this week is pretty good. Now, I mentioned earlier Everton's defence. Last season, Everton were a pretty good defence. This season, we've not really seen that so far. The first 3 games, they were a bottom 2 defence with Burnley. Now, they didn't concede many chances against Aston Villa. Maybe just down to the fact that Aston Villa were really bad going forward. But I don't think that Everton are a particularly good defence right now, especially with Branthwaite out. Now, Branthwaite might be back quite soon. I think it will probably come too soon for this game, though. So, I don't mind the fixture at all. I'm not expecting Salah to kind of be back to his old self of last season, but this kind of goes hand in hand with the previous question, should you wildcard this week? Because there's a clear swing in fixtures. Liverpool's fixtures from game week 6 start to get a little bit worse. Man City's fixtures from game week 6 get a little bit better. So I think in an ideal world, you'd keep Salah this week and then sell him or wildcard him out next week, and you can do the Salah to Haaland switch. I think that works quite nicely. So for this week, I would keep him and then probably have a plan to move him to Haaland if you don't have Haaland for next week. Okay, and that is all for this one. Make sure you're checking out rotowire.com/soccer. All sorts of good stuff on there. You've got cheat sheets, you've got the stats tables, you've got the player rankings. So make sure you're checking that out. rotowire.com/soccer. But like I say, that is all for this one. Make sure you hit like, make sure you subscribe, and we will see you in the next one.